cameras
that are in the stadium. Things that don't matter are the camera captures. And things that matter in the grand scheme of things to determine the authenticity of a goal or not, we overlooked that. I think UEFA need to work on their refereeing and their VR, especially the VR. It looks like they are sleeping at the job a lot of the time, and that's very much problematic. So I think Sporting Lisbon played a very, 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 very good game. They deserve to have won the game, or at least they didn't deserve to lose. And due to refereeing decisions, things went out of their control and they lost the game. So kudos to Bayern, but they benefited from referee decision.
All right, so that means that FC Bayern have qualified automatically because it's just with 2 games left. Yeah. They've only lost 1 game. It seems that they've qualified to the next round of the competition. So in the next 2 games that they will play, it wouldn't be anything that they have to fight for their lives or anything. But let's move on to the next game that was played yesterday. We would like to focus on the Atlanta versus Chelsea game. Yesterday, Enzo Maresca after the game said he is disappointed that he lost. Maresca went back to Italy, and before the game, he was praising Atlanta, first of all, for the job that Gasperini did before Palladino took over, and they went on to lose that game by 2-1. What happened, Sottie?
Enzo Maresca, I think his problem is he's suffering from Pep's earlier disease.
Rotation.
He's overthinking too much. So I understood this. First of all, let me be honest and say Chelsea didn't play very well from the beginning. If you watch the game, Atalanta looked like they were the team who would take the lead, and then Chelsea against the round of play just surprised Atalanta. I even felt that goal, if you check it in a way, there was a bit of offside, and Chelsea as a big team benefited from that, and then the goal was allowed. My problem was after the goal, Chelsea then went back to their usual ways. They were relaxed. There was no urgency in the game, and that's one of Chelsea's problems. One of the reasons why Chelsea lose some games or drop points is that even after scoring the first goal, the hunger and that passion to continue and get a second goal to make your situation more comfortable or consolidate your lead, then Chelsea relaxes and goes back to their old ways. Then the opponent scores. You know that when the opponent does the equalizer, they have the energy to move on and get another goal. And around that time, Chelsea is now suffocating under pressure. That was one of the problems. Also, the fact was that Skamaka did a very good job yesterday, and so he gave Trevor Chalobah a lot of pressure. That meant that before the first half, Chalobah had a yellow card. The general idea was that in the second half, Skamaka will have a lot of 1v1s against Chalobah, and then he might get a red card. And because of Chelsea's history of red cards, over 5-6 red cards in the various games so far, it got Enzo Maresca thinking too much.
I thought that he should have let Chalobah stay. In that game, Arsenal versus Chelsea, Cucurella had that yellow card, but he was being talked to maintain his teeth.
And Caicedo helped him as well, so he made sure that at every point in the game things didn't go bad.
Then he brought in Uncle Tosin.
And you see, my problem wasn't even Tosin. Now, I think he didn't anticipate it, so he brought on Wesley Fofana. So Fofana was now playing with Badiashile. Now the problem was, then Fofana got injured. So now Fofana, who was a substitute, didn't last. So I think Enzo didn't anticipate he would have made a change to Fofana. So now he had to make a fast change and brought Uncle Tosin. Now while I watched the match, once there was a Chelsea fan, once he saw Uncle Tosin, he got up and left. And true to his word, Chelsea lost the game. And Tosin was around when the goal happened. And Tosin and Badiashile are a bad combo.
Very bad.
They are only good enough when we are playing a 3-back.
But what's happening to Jose Champion?
So Champon did very well throughout the game. The only thing I realized was that when at the point he became very much isolated in the second half, he had tired legs. Then Ademola Lookman seemed to have a good day. By the first 45 minutes on the game, Lookman even had a clear goal that was saved by a Champon. So this is a player that Ghana should be chasing for the future, because this is a player, when I watch his profile, he's got the height, he's got good aerial dual abilities, he's got the physicality on his side, he's got good passing range, and most important for him, he's got good speed. He's able to travel with the ball over 40-50 meters. So he's your modern day center back. And once he learns a few of the dark arts and he builds on his match fitness, he's able to play a lot of full games, 90 minutes on his belt. He builds out himself physically as well. I think Champon is one of those young center backs that people brag about, that you say this one for the future. Luckily for him, he's not getting the spotlight. That's good for him because then he can build himself without the media pressure, and gradually he can develop into a good centre back. But I think Chapman was really, really good yesterday. And for me, he didn't even make a mistake. But I like it when, as a young guy, 21, 22, he makes mistakes. I don't have a problem. He will build up on that. But I have a problem when a 27, 28-year-old is making mistakes repeatedly. That's a problem for me. And it's good for me that these things are happening just before we enter into the January transfer window, because that will mean that Chelsea will not have no other option
to do business
than to do business in the January transfer window, because we know that this Fofana is unsustainable in terms of long-term future or long-term plans for Chelsea. We also have to sort out a few issues here. For midfield, we are sorted, but we need 2 quality, experienced centre backs that will help us to challenge for future titles. And the problem with Chelsea is that the way they play, they are good enough for big games, but once the big games are off, the way they set up, it doesn't work against the smaller teams, because they press as a unit and they do things together and they catch Chelsea always off guard. And a few things were off yesterday. The defenders, the way they were going to the duels, was quite problematic. So all in all, I think Enzo Maresca, he thought too much, and my problem was the last change he made. Taking off Enzo Fernandez and bringing Malo Gusto was a risk he took. I didn't get
so
it.
At a point in time,
he weakened the defense and weakened the midfield at the same time.
The natural wing backs or full backs of Chelsea at a point in time, all of them were playing in midfield.
Yes.
Malo Gusto, James, Kukurea was even in the midfield.
And the problem for me was that you had Andre Santos on the bench. So play Andre Santos there and play with Caicedo. At least if you even lost control of the defense, let's have a hang on the midfield. Once you have a hang on the midfield, you are controlling the game. We don't even need to care about who is at the back. A lot of things went bad yesterday, and I'm happy all these things are happening. Pressure is now on him. He has to perform, and Chelsea usually crumbles in December. I'm not surprised these things are happening. I expect more difficult things to happen. We are playing Everton away at home next on Saturday. I don't think Chelsea will win that match, because you know what Jordan Pickford will do, and we know how frustrating it is to play against Everton. Once they have players like Beto and players like Jack Grealish, those two alone are very frustrating to play against, because Grealish is somebody who's looking for fouls and delaying the game. Now, touch wood, if Everton get a goal, Grealish will start delaying, Ndiaye will start dribbling around and try to get fouls. Beto around already. We saw what Skamaka did to Chalobah. Beto is even twice the size of Skamaka already. It means that the defenders are going to have a very torrid period. So a whole lot of things will go wrong. And you know what Pickford does when his team is 1-0 up away from home? He will delay. So a lot of difficult fixtures are coming out, which ordinarily shouldn't have been difficult. Atlanta should have been difficult. Bournemouth should have been difficult. Leeds United should have been difficult. Just Enzo Maresca and the team just fluffing and it's made all these things very difficult for themselves, and they now struggle.
All right, so this is coming from a Chelsea fan, from the deep of his heart. But let's move on to other games where Liverpool at the San Siro beat Inter Milan by a goal. They did it without Mohamed Salah, and Jamie Carragher prior to the game was saying that he wants Liverpool to desperately win that game because of what Mo Salah is doing. And yes, they did, but they did it in the dying embers of the game. Dominic Szoboszlai scoring in the dying embers of the game to give Liverpool all the 3 maximum points. Were you surprised Liverpool beat Inter San Siro?
It came from a penalty.
So but they beat them.
No, it came from a penalty. So I mean,
he could have missed 2.
It came from a penalty.
But he could have
missed. Without saying so.
But was it a penalty in the first place?
Those situations are things I generally don't like to dabble in, and I'll just leave it at that. It was the referee awarded a penalty, and Liverpool benefited from that. Sometimes I ask myself, if that penalty was awarded against your club, will you be happy as a fan?
Oh, you need to be honest as a fan, regardless.
I'll just say kudos to Liverpool for managing to win. In certain games, it's not about what happened. It was about getting the 3 points. And getting the 3 points, it means that it eases the pressure on them. Because you know the bad press that they have generated from Mo Salah's interviews and a whole lot of things. The poor run of form is one, Mohamed Salah's comments another, and so that alone has created too many unwarranted situations around the team and negative press and comments around the team, or what they term as noise. And so this win is very important because now it settles them a little bit for the next few games, so they can now be comfortable around to steady the ship and then look toward the future. So it's good for them that they're able to win, and that will help them to ensure some automatic qualification to the next round of the Champions League.
Let's talk about Thomas Frank's Tottenham Hotspur. They beat Slavia Prague. I knew it would be a stroll in the park, but Mohamed Kudus scoring from 12 yards, celebrating in a grand style with his teammates.
I didn't watch the game, so to be very honest, you know, our good friend was there. So on a status, I saw a video of him. So the first picture I saw of him was sitting on the stool in the celebration. So oh, that's nice. He has scored. So I thought it was so I looked around and I realized, oh, it was a penalty. Well, once again, too, it's good for him that Mohamed Kudus has scored his first Champions League goal since he moved to Tottenham Hotspur. I realized that I think now in terms of the statistics, in terms of Ghanaians who have scored the most goals in the Champions League, I think if Kudus scores his next one, I think he equalizes Abedi Pele's record. Now his next 2 goals, he becomes the Ghana's topmost scorer in terms of the Champions League. And it's good enough because so many records. In AFCON, it's Andre Ayew. In World Cup, it's Asamoah Gyan. So it would be nice that for a young player, in terms of there's also a record that
more years to play.
Exactly, he has about 5 more years to
more than 5.
I'm just saying to play in main Europe. So it all depends on whether Spurs will be able to qualify for Champions League.
I think even with his quality, he can play more than 5 years in Europe.
That's fine. But it all depends on Spurs. If Spurs will qualify for Europe, because remember they qualified because they won.
I don't think the next 5 years will still be at Spurs.
Okay, I think that's a bigger. I think that's the import of what you were saying. But I was thinking he's still at Spurs.
He'll be at a bigger club. I'll not be surprised if in the next 2 seasons, Salah, Kudus makes a move to a bigger club.
Bigger club like which club?
Arsenal.
Okay, but you see, my problem is that when you look at Kudus and you look at his numbers, if you're using the numbers argument, it will be very difficult to let a big club buy, because
yes, if you use the numbers,
that would be problematic for him. But
when you use the eye test,
exactly. So that is the problem. Would the clubs use the eye test? But you see, nowadays football directors and technical directors, they love to use statistics, and usually they would find a better player with numbers.
And again, Kudus is a versatile player, so
exactly.
It depends on where.
So it depends on the situation and the vision the club have before buying the player.
It's a win-win for
him. So are you saying no? You said
I said it's
going to Arsenal.
Now you've now thought about
I think I know. No, when you said it, I didn't think about it.
You've now thought about it.
I just realized the guy
you said a big team, and I mentioned
so he played for West Ham. He has played for Tottenham. Then he played for Arsenal.
It doesn't matter. There are always controversies. He's a London boy. Can even then from Arsenal probably will come to Chelsea when he has been drained.
He would end up being banned from London for his life.
He will be a London boy. So that's how we review the games that were played yesterday in the UEFA Champions League. Remember, there are some games currently ongoing in the Champions League. Let me bring you up to speed with the results. When we were coming to the studio, in that game between is it Copenhagen?
Yeah.
It was 2-2. So let me bring you up to speed on what's happening already. There have been some early kickoff today in the UEFA Champions League. So yes, as I said, let's start from Karabakh FK. They are currently beating Ajax by 2-1.
Ajax had a whipping boys this season in the Champions League.
Camilo Duran, Matthew Silva scoring for Karabakh. Then Dolberg equalizing for
Kasper Dolberg. That guy was a great player back in the day.
Equalizing for Ajax. For Villarreal and Copenhagen, it's 2-2. Copenhagen first took the lead in the 2nd minute, and then Sottie equalized for Villarreal in the 47th minute. Then in the 48th minute, Copenhagen also scored. Then in the 56th minute, there was another equalizer by Villarreal. Let's go for a breather. When we come back, we will. Is it review or preview? We'll preview the games, the upcoming games in the Champions League. And the biggest game, Manchester City versus Real Madrid, is happening tonight. This is the 15th time 2 teams are meeting. A lot of surplus in the Xabi Alonso versus Pep Guardiola, a player he managed at Bayern Munich. Let's go for a break. When we come back, the show continues. Stay tuned.
Playing for your country, enye easy. Scoring, enye easy. Winning, enye easy. You know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary Mix. I easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted groundnuts. Just add water. Sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy. Made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kibo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
Also available strawberry, coconut, and chocomore. This advert is FDA approved.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Sports World on ABC News Ghana with me, James Ohenba McKeown. It's time for us to preview tonight's games of the UEFA Champions League, and there's only one place to start from, and that is Santiago Bernabeu, where Real Madrid are hosting Manchester City. So quickly, let's have the lineups on our screens between the two teams. There we go. And for Real Madrid, it is Courtois that is imposed. Valverde will captain the side. Asensio, Rudiger are in the defense, and then Carreras is also Tchouaméni, Dani Ceballos, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, Gonzalo, and also Vinicius Junior.
So it means Kylian Mbappe starts from the bench. He will be joined by Brahim Diaz, Frank Gonzalez, their goalkeeper Lunin, and Mastantuano and Juan Martinez, as well as Frank Garcia. So that's the bench from Madrid, and for Xabi Alonso then. And then for Manchester City, in post is Gianluigi Donnarumma, assisted by Matheus Nunes, Ruben Dias, Joshko Vardiol, O'Reilly, Nico Gonzalez, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Ryan Sheki, Jeremy Doku, and Erling Haaland. And on the bench, Tijani Reinders, Abdulkadir Kusanov, Oscar Bob, Lewis, Tijani Reinders, Bettinelli, as well as goalkeeper Trafford in there. So interesting lineups from both teams. For City, basically everyone that is available starts the game. Haaland starts, Foden starts. That's big for them.
But why is Mbappe on the bench for Madrid?
I think he suffered some slight injuries over the week, so he didn't even train. So I thought he would not even feature at all. So Mbappe not starting will pose quite a significant risk for the club, because we are hearing that Xabi Alonso is under pressure. He needs to win this game.
He doesn't win this game, he's a goner.
The pressure he caused himself. If he had won against Celta Vigo last week, I don't think this would have happened, because losing at home at the Bernabeu to Celta Vigo is quite problematic. That alone means that you are going to put yourself in trouble, and especially because this defeat wasn't a one-off. They had failed to win a couple of games. Remember, they had led the La Liga table by 4 points. Now Barcelona is leading them by 4 points, meaning they had dropped successive points. Remember, once you lose 3 games, it means it's effective. It's just like you've lost a match. So failure to beat Elche, failure to beat Rayo Vallecano, and other teams they failed to beat. I think the only one they beat was Athletic Club, who for whatever reason are now the whipping boys in La Liga. Was the only victory they had in their last 5 games in La Liga. That alone has put undue pressure on them. Then losing at home to Celta Vigo is the final nail in the coffin. So if he fails to win tonight, more pressure on him, and he might be asked to leave. Now they're already conversation. Every week we talk about it. So-called losing the dressing room. We all know it's those Brazilian miscreants who are not getting game time, are not getting what they want. Brazilian miscreants. You have to call a spade a spade. For me, I guess if Rodrigo is the one arguing for this, I get it, because Rodrigo, based on his
Vini, the club. News that came in today suggests that Vini has decided not to extend his contract. If Xabi Alonso is the man going to stay,
he can go wherever he wants to go. They don't need him for this area.
But let's have a look at some statistics between these two teams when it comes to the UEFA Champions League, their form guide and everything that they are going through. So let's have the fun facts between Real Madrid and Manchester City on our screen. So that's the first one. Now City sit 9th in the 36-team Champions League standings, 2 points behind 5th place Madrid. Both teams have lost once, but Los Blancos have 4 wins compared to City's 3 in this season's competition, and could really cement their place in the top 8 with victory at the Santiago Bernabeu. So this particular season in the Champions League, Madrid has won 4, City has won 3 games. Let's move on to the next one. I don't know if Sottie has something to say about this one.
Yeah. Remember that City's last defeat, their last game, they lost at home to Bayer Leverkusen. They were surprised at the Etihad, and so they need to make a statement when they are here against Real Madrid.
All right.
So this is the perfect opportunity for Pep to let us know that performance was a blip. You know, City are also struggling, but fortunately for them, now other teams in the league are also struggling. So City are now second, just 2 points behind Arsenal, and so it doesn't look bad, but if you look through their results, they are struggling to win games. But I think the good thing is that now they are able to win the games, and that's the difference.
Sure. So now Real Madrid enter tonight's match on an impressive run, having scored in 38 straight home games in the European Cup or Champions League games. So whenever they play at home, be rest assured that Madrid are going to score a goal. Now this is the 3rd longest streak in the competition's history, behind their own record of 44 consecutive home games with a goal from 2011 to 2018, and Juventus' all-time best streak of 45 games set between 1973 and 2000. That's an impressive record. So be rest assured that Madrid will score today. All you need to do is to go on to Betway. You can stick that particular option. Then this will be the 15th time that Madrid and Man City have faced each other in the UEFA Champions League. Now this makes the most repeated fixture,
the most played fixture
in the UEFA Champions League.
I remember those times when Kevin De Bruyne had a good one over Thibaut Courtois there at the Bernabeu. So
I remember that goal from Rodrigo to
exactly
the semi-finals.
Yes, to take them to the final of the tournament. I think they ended up winning that tournament.
Madrid won that tournament.
Yeah, so I think it's the game. Is in the last 5 years is one fixture that we've seen repeatedly, and both sides have had good moments in these games, and we'll see how that goes for any club. But we all know that even though City lost their last match, Madrid actually are the ones under pressure because of their poor performance at home at the Bernabeu, the same venue in at the weekend in La Liga. They need to make a statement. Unfortunately, as Mbappe is not around, that alone will affect how the team shapes us for this game.
So the new guy who will be leading the Lions is the guy who did the magic for them in the Club World Cup during that period. But let's see whether in the big moments he will be able to deliver. Now let's still move on to it. And since November 2024, however, City have lost 6 of their 12 games played in the Champions League. They've won 4, they've drew 2. Prior to this round of 12, their previous 6 defeats in the competition came over the course of 69 matches between October 2018 and October 2024. So that's an interesting fun fact there. You can move on to the next one. On our screen, the last visiting side to keep a clean sheet away at Real Madrid in this competition was CSK Moscow in December 2018.
So every club that comes here will concede a goal at least.
And the last 38 consecutive games in the Champions League at home, Madrid has scored a goal.
So it's very likely that tonight they will get a goal. And
likely that Donnarumma too might concede.
You see, the only challenge is that without Mbappe, then it looks a difficult task, particularly because the guy you talked about, Gonzalo, his confidence, I think, would have waned at this point, because the form he had, if we started the season and he was being played consistently or given minutes regularly, I think he would have built upon that experience. But it's like he built a particular tempo and a particular he adapted to the league at a certain level, and then the form and the heat, or for the word on the street we use, the heat he had, I think it has died down. That firepower he had has died down, because obviously once he was not playing time, he will lose the game fitness. And so I think he will now have to, it's cruel on him that on such a big game he will now have to build up that momentum, and expectation, pressure will be mounting on him to deliver what Mbappe usually would have delivered.
All right, I don't know whether you have more fun facts about the Madrid City game. If we do, then let's have it now. Since their first encounter in 2012-2013, it is the most played fixture in the Champions League. We did mention this, but this will mark the first managerial meeting between Manchester City's Pep Guardiola and Los Blancos boss Xabi Alonso.
So the student meets his master. Alonso worked with, or he was a player under Pep at Bayern Munich. And he was one of the important players for
all the games.
Yeah, for Pep around those times, and helping Pep to win all the trophies he did at the club at the time. And so we'll see whether the manager taught him well at this point.
But if Pep do away his score Alonso then sack him,
he didn't try for it. Earlier he granted an interview where he says, he sort of he commiserates with
fooling Pep. He didn't lie. He go score you for
Xabi Alonso is going through, and that I think the caveat he added was that that's what happens in the big class for Barcelona and Real Madrid. That's the pressure that every manager in the world who goes to those clubs has to.
I wouldn't surprise if the game ends in a draw,
so that he will not be sacked. But even if he fails to win, he should be sacked, because failure to win a game with that magnitude at the Bernabeu is a sackable offense, especially because you fail to win in midweek. You should win this one. If you fail to win this one, he should go.
All right, so let's move on to the other fun facts that we have. So Man City have lost their last 2 games against Real Madrid, suffering defeats at home and away against them in last season's playoff round. This is as many losses as they had experienced in their previous 11 games against the Spanish side combined. They won 4, drew 5, and lost 2. Now Man City have had their trouble defensively this season, conceding 22 goals from 20.6 expected goals against them. So they are conceding more than they are supposed to be expected. So that's also an angle that Real Madrid can exploit. Now let's talk about the man, Erling Haaland. Now Haaland has scored 20 goals in all competitions this season for City. Among players from Europe's top 5 leagues, only Mbappe, who has scored 25, Harry Kane has scored 28, have netted more in the 2025-2026 season, while only Harry Kane, who has scored 21, has scored more non-penalty goals than Haaland's 20. So if Mbappe is to play in this game, it would have been very, very interesting, considering the attacking lineups of these 2 players. So that's Erling Haaland. Let's move on to the next statistics about Erling Haaland in relation or in context to this particular game. So Sottie, Haaland, 20 goals in all competitions.
As I said, as for Haaland, he's always banging in the goals, and I think primarily for City, they could say even at this point, he has given them 150% more than even what they expected. I think Haaland, his goal per game ratio means he's averaging a goal per game, and already in 115 games he has scored 100 goals in the Premier League. And in just 2 years in the league, if you even check the players who were the first one of the fastest players to reach 50 goals in the league, Haaland, one of those players, fastest players to score hat-tricks in the English Premier League. A great striker by all standards. As for club side, I think he has nothing to prove at club side. I think it's when he gets to the other side where Haaland has a lot to prove, and then the onus will be on him to do that. At the next in less than 7 months time, hopefully next year, if we are alive and we are healthy, and we would follow and see his exploits, because unfortunately for him, he's never been too close or realistically closer to winning the Ballon d'Ors. And unfortunately for him, no matter what he does this year, his results or the possibility of him being eligible or likely to win a Ballon d'Or would be judged by how his country performs. And looking at the country he's from and the group,
even looking at their group, France, Senegal, it's very difficult.
Yes.
If you have met lesser known
Yes,
sides. You know that he can score like 4 goals in just one
exactly.
game.
If you were a group with the US, like the group US has, Australia, with Australia and the others, you could have said that I think USA, Australia, and Austria. I think that would have been manageable for them. But the group they find themselves is where the problem is. So as for Haaland in this kind of fixtures, usually he would get his goal. I think the only time he struggled was when he faced off with Antonio Rudiger. Remember that season where in the first leg at the Bernabeu, Rudiger had a very, 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 very good game under Ancelotti, and he made sure that he made Haaland silent. Then only for the second leg at the Etihad, Rudiger was benched for the Brazilian defender Eden Militao, and things went south. So I think for whichever Madrid defender would have to, and obviously we know it's Antonio Rudiger, he would have a torrid time today. But we know Rudiger and what he can do. The only problem is that Rudiger is lacking in confidence at the moment.
Rusty now.
Yes, and it was very, very clear in even the Celta Vigo game. And so he will need to up his game today. He will need to be at his very best in order to stand any chance or give himself and Madrid any flicker of hope of silencing Erling Haaland tonight.
All right. So since his debut campaign in 2019-2020 season, the Norway international scored more goals in the Champions League than any other player. He scored 54 goals in the Champions League since 2019-2020 season, since he made his debut for Manchester City. And that's an interesting fact. And in fact, 2 of the only 3 players who have netted 50+ goals in the competition are Kylian Mbappe, also netting 50 times. Since then, and Robert Lewandowski, Haaland has scored twice in 5 appearances against Madrid across his career. 2 goals in 5 games against Madrid. Now let's move on to the other game. But your prediction for the game? Your prediction for the game? So before you predict, let's have a look at the head-to-head. So if you can have a full screen to see how the head-to-head between these 2 teams have been so far. So let's start from the 2019-2020 season. Man City beat Madrid twice on 2 occasions. It ended 2-1. Then in the semi-finals in 2021-2022 season, 4-3 in the first leg. Then Madrid went on to beat them 3-1 in the second leg. Still, the following season in the semi-finals again, it was 1-1 in the first leg at Bernabeu. Then at Etihad, City beat Madrid by 4 goals to 0. 4 goals to 0. Then in the quarterfinals, 3-3 in the first leg, then 1-1 in the second leg at Etihad. Then Madrid qualified on penalties. Then 2024-2025 season, it was in the group stages, 3-2 and also 3-1. So that's the head-to-head. So based on this, Sottie, who do you think is winning?
Realistically, I don't see Madrid winning this game because of how rusty their defense has been, how uncoordinated the team has been in terms of even pressing forward, and the so-called issues they're also having within their setup, the so-called loss of the dressing room of the manager, the pressure of the manager also making take certain decisions on the night. For City, I think they are very much relaxed. They don't need to do much. They are in a poor position to qualify to the next stage. All they need to do is just win comfortably or just avoid defeat, and I think they'll go through. Looking at the fact that Erling Haaland is on form, Phil Foden is also on good form. We also had some success on Phil Foden we could have also shown. I think that City are in a good position. So I think City 2-0.
So City 2-0 says Eugene, Ofori, Sottie. So you can send in your messages, your predictions, and probably when we open the phone lines at the end of the show, you can also call to share your prediction. But let's move on to the next game this particular night, and it's Arsenal traveling to Belgium to face Club Brugge in the UEFA Champions League. Remember, Arsenal on top of the league log. This is the lineup, and David Raya is imposed for Arsenal. Ben White will be playing at the right back. Norgard starts. Hincapie is also in there. Luis Kelly is playing at the left back. Zubimendi, Merino, Odegaard, Madueke, Marcelini, and Gyökeres are in there. So, I'm looking at the centre back positions. Probably it will be Norgard and Hinkapi that will be playing in that centre back position. That's an interesting one to have there. We see how he performs. I'm sure Ateta wants to just test this against Club Brugge and see how it will go in that one. So that's it for you. I don't know if you have anything to say on the Arsenal.
I have nothing to say
lineup.
about this Arsenal lineup. I want to see what Madueke will prove on the day, and I want to see what
that
Victor
guy
Gyökeres
is annoying to watch. I won't lie to you.
I think finally we've come to an agreement.
He is annoying to
So
watch.
if now see what when I heard Chelsea was selling, I just know.
No, I wasn't happy with that transfer.
I'm saying I
wasn't happy with that
thank
transfer.
God, good riddance that finally we had gotten
His
somebody.
only goal is a tapping.
Yeah,
Tapping, my grandmother can do it. Tapping.
I first of all know that I thank God that finally we got a club to sell him.
So always you people have been giving us some pass.
And honestly, I always say,
and I'm also happy that Edu is not there again. Now you have Andre Bata who is doing a good job.
Let's see the good job here. He's brought Hincap here. Let's see what he does tonight. He also brought Christian Nogard, right?
Yeah.
Let's see how that goes. Christian Nogard, Hincap here, a partnership at the back. Rock solid. Let's also have a look at the club.
So let's have that of the club.
In post is their goalkeeper Simon Mignolet, formerly of Liverpool, and then for the centre back Sike, and then Ordonez. And Michel says Nigeria's midfielder Rafael Onyedika is in the midfield alongside Stankovic, for one of their very experienced players, Van Aken, Forbes, Tresoldi, and Sizolis. And then for their bench, they've got Van der Hevel, De Corte, Meyer, Splace, Romero, Sabi, Bertelsen, Sandra, Furo, Campbell, Diakon, and Nelson. So a very, very, very strong lineup from Club Brugge, and we hope to see. No, very, 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 very strong players. These are players who have been with the club for the last 2-3 years. On top of my head, I remember seeing Mignolet in the last 3 years. Ordonez is a very important centre back for them, and I think he's a player. I would not be surprised to see him in the Premier League in a few years. He's one consistent player. I think he's a South American. He should be from either Colombia or Ecuador, one of those countries. Rock solid defender as a player. And Rafael Onyedika, you know him from Nigeria as well. Van Aken is also a very, very experienced player for them, as well as Susolis. A goal poacher, absolutely important goal scorer, prolific striker for Club Brugge. And you are going to be treated to a tasty game because we know what they did to Barcelona in that very game. If not for a few things that went Barcelona's way, Barcelona should have lost that game. And so I expect another spirited performance from them. Unfortunately, you are not playing a highlight, so they will not have to go through a counter-attacking game. I would be interested in seeing how they approach today's game, because you will be setting up very defensively, and on paper you seem to have a rock solid defense, but we'll see how Hinkapi.
Trying to be sarcastic here. Norgard and Hinkapi are rock solid defense.
No. So Norgard was coming from a very defensive team, and he was very important for them. I've
never seen him playing at the centre back position before, honestly.
Norgard was playing with Brentford, and a few times he deputized in that sense. Very rarely, but he did it a few times. And my point is he has come from a very defensive orientation. Okay. So him playing centre back is not too different, because the way Brentford set up a lot of the time, they were defending, they were capitalizing on set pieces, and Norgard was one of their very defensive-minded players. I don't think it's new territory for him if he's playing as a centre back in this position. It's just a few things he just needs to watch. Apart from that, I think he will function very well in this game.
All right, so let's have the fun facts about Arsenal versus Club Brugge. What's happening? So let's have a look at the fun facts. Probably Arsenal, they are leading the table now.
Yeah.
And if they win, they are on the verge of making some records in there. So Mikel Arteta's side have racked up 9 straight group phase wins in the Champions League, scoring 27 goals and conceding just 3. Liverpool are the only English side to have previously won 10 group stages in a row, winning 12 between September 2022 and January 2025. What are you trying to do there? Why are you angry?
No. No, I was looking at a few things, evaluating some options in terms of certain things, and I was thinking, I was pondering about certain things.
Interesting.
And the director decided to do that. I'll have a serious word with him.
Shout out to the boys at the work. Why Nina? So, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Top of the league.
Yeah.
Can they extend it?
No.
Why? Against Club Brugge.
Yeah, I think Club Brugge, they are very dangerous to play against at their home grounds. Very, very compact. And I think the thing they've mastered doing is they're able to withstand the pressure for so long. And if it's 2 chances in the game they'll get, they take those two chances. Against Barcelona, we saw it. Very few chances they had in the game. All chances they had, they took it. And then they scored 3 goals. It was when things we didn't go their way via the referee decision and other things that things ended up the way it ended. But I anticipate that Arsenal themselves, things will start going south in a while. No, honestly, I'm not a prophet of doom. But coming from the defeat at Villa Park,
that's just one of those games.
The thing for me is that I knew you were going to struggle at Villa Park. The way Villa Park set up, Villa.
But you know, Club Brugge themselves lost over the weekend.
I'm making a point. The way Villa set up at Villa Park, they very much win against the big teams. So check, they will beat City. If Chelsea goes, Chelsea will concede. If Liverpool goes, Liverpool will concede. United will go, United will concede. The big teams will struggle. Now when it gets to their Newcastle, Brighton, Brentford, they will struggle. That's the problem. So when you were going there, I knew you were going to concede. That's the way Club Brugge is set up. They are prepared for the big games psychologically and physically. And I think because they took that game so seriously, they lost their home game. To channel all their energy, into tonight's game. And so I expect a very much spirited and enthusiastic, energetic Club Brugge side.
Okay, you can use all the adjectives
to run at Arsenal and get at least 2 goals tonight.
All right, we'll be here after 90 minutes. So let's move on to the next fun fact. And Arsenal have won 6 of their last 7 away games in the Champions League. They've lost only 1.
Yeah. And there's always a first,
including both in the current campaign without conceding a goal. 2-0 against Atletico Club. They were about 3-0 versus Slavia Praha. So even the arguments you are making, though, we've won 6 of our last 7.
Don't worry.
And we've not considered in 2 of those games. We've only lost 1. Now, Gabriel Martinelli has scored in all 4 of his Champions League appearances this season. No Arsenal player has ever scored in 5 Champions League games in a row. So if he does today, he makes record.
So even Thierry Henry, your greatest players,
they did it in... No, Thierry Henry haven't done it. I think it was Ian Wright.
No Arsenal player has ever scored in 5 Champions League
games. The key word is Champions League games.
Yeah. So even your great players
in the Champions League.
Dennis Beckham.
No. In a row. But as a Chelsea player, done it in a row 5 times before. No, tell me if a Chelsea player has done it. Even for 5 in a row.
I would let me look.
Before he checks every country, let's have a look at the other fun facts about this.
Let me issue this. It won't be tight if I find it.
And what happened? So Club Brugge has sipped 24 Champions League goals from 11 games in 2025.
Tonight there will be a clean sheet.
They have sipped in 24.
Tonight there will be a clean sheet.
With only Barcelona.
Tonight there will be a
Look at this. With only Barcelona conceding 27 in 13 games. Conceding more. So Barca have even conceded more than...
I said tonight is a clean sheet for...
They have also faced the joint most shots on target. As a defense, make sure they are breaky. They faced 73 shots. And the most expected goals against them has been 23.5. Bigger than any of the side in the Champions League. If there is more, let's have it on our screens. And in European Cup history, only 4 English teams have won their first 6 games of a campaign. Manchester United in 1965-66 season, Leeds United in the 1969-1970 season, Liverpool in both 2021, 2022 and 2024 and 2025, and Manchester City in 2023, 2024. So if Arsenal is able to win, he joins this pack. Club Brugge have scored 3+ goals in each of their 2 home games Champions League matches this season. 4-1 versus Monaco, 3-3 versus Barcelona, and that's where it gets interesting because in each of their
3+ goals in each of their
2 home Champions League games.
I like that fact.
I like that fact.
So you see, you were also, when you go to the point that you thought you were strong, you were hammering on that. So it means that you are likely to concede at least 3 goals tonight.
And your chrome.
Ship it in.
Now you have to go back to October 1981 to the last time Arsenal were beaten by a Belgian side.
Don't worry.
1981.
Yeah.
Where were you?
Ask yourself.
Where were you? 1981. Where were you?
I was.
You were in the air. Now from.
But the point is that ask yourself. When you read that stat about conceding 3+ goals in their last 2 games, what was your mind?
And when you also read that you've not been beaten in any away grounds this season.
So then my counter argument becomes: when was the last time Arsenal played a Belgian side?
We can check it. It can be very recent.
Okay.
They were beaten by a Belgian. So the last time they won was a 1-0 loss to KFC Winterslag, now known as KRC Genk, in the UEFA Cup, with the Gunners winning 7, drawing 2 of 9 such contests since. They are unbeaten in 4 away matches against Belgian teams. Are you good? If we have more, we can have it. If we don't have, we move on. But then the Belgian outfits have won just one of their previous 18 encounters against English opponents. They've only won 1 against English opponents. They've drawn 3 and they've lost 14. Though that did come in the Champions League, a 1-0 triumph over Aston Villa in November 2024. So all 4 of Carlos Forbes. Now this is the danger man for Club Brugge. All 4 of Carlos Forbes' goals and assists in the Champions League this season have come on home soil for Club Brugge.
Tonight,
2 goals,
tonight you get a hat-trick.
2 assists,
Tonight
assisting in both home games.
Tonight you get a hat-trick.
Now Club Brugge have come up against 12 different English teams in European competition, but this fixture will mark their first against Arsenal. So this is our very first time meeting, and with all the statistics that have been put in place, everything is going for the boys from North London.
Don't worry. Forbes will get a hat-trick tonight. Is it Club Brugge, their last 2 home games in the Champions League? They scored how many goals?
3+ goals.
That's right.
And today they will concede.
They will score 3+ goals.
And they are the side that have conceded more. If you take away Barcelona, they face more shots. They've conceded more than the expected goals.
Don't worry. You concede.
All of these things are.
That's the most important thing for me. That means that now you are beginning to be cracked open, and that so-called resilient defense will be exposed.
So I guess that's your prediction is what?
At least a 3-1 for Club Brugge against Arsenal.
Yeah, I can hold that. So I've received a message and we are live on at various people's homes. So this one is coming from Felix Boafo, my man Felix Boafo. Shout out to you this evening. We are doing the watching this particular evening. He's a Chelsea fan and these days he's not so happy. Felix Boafo.
Shout out to
Chief. Easy. Constable. I salute.
Shout out to Felix Boafo.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing
AKA Thiago Alcantara.
He said he's a Chelsea
yeah,
fan.
He plays like Thiago Alcantara.
Up the Blues, and we hope that
these days he's not happy.
He's a police officer.
Yeah.
You know, in life there are always ups and downs. It's good that getting to the Christmas things are not going well. So either we sack the manager or we buy players in January. And so I'm happy things are not going well, so that the club will take a decision fast.
You want them to sack Maresca?
Either they sack Maresca, or we get better. What
kind of allegation is that?
When you get there, you understand.
Somebody else won you the.
No, you see that's the thing.
Club World Cup.
That's the thing about.
This is the first time I'm hearing a Chelsea fan saying that they should sack
Enzo Maresca. We are hungry for success. Once we see that there's an element of complacency and mediocrity.
So when you go, who are you going to pick? Xabi Alonso.
Don't worry.
Xabi Alonso.
Don't worry. We have answers to that.
Xabi Alonso.
Because immediately we sack him. Whoever is coming knows that even if the previous one won Club World Cup and was sacked, you failure to win a trophy, you are out.
All right, let's move on to the next game on our build tonight. And before we move on, let me quickly go to the scores and to give you updates of what's currently happening. Ajax have equalized. So now it is 2-2. Karabakh FK have scored 2 goals. Ajax to have scored 2 goals. That game between Villarreal and Copenhagen is still ongoing. 80th minute is still 2-2 in that particular game. So that's by way of update. Let's move on to the next one. Athletic Club de Bilbao versus PSG. An interesting game. Inaki Williams have been named in the squad.
He starts from the bench.
He starts from the bench, obviously, because he's coming from.
But it's good to have him back. He's missed almost 6 in games. He missed the Ghana's international last 2 international friendlies. He missed he missed the World Cup qualifiers, the final phase. He has missed our last international friendlies. And so he's been out for almost 2-3 months, and it's good to have him back in a match squad for the first time in a long while. And hopefully he gets some minutes. But this is a game that I think will be. It looks likely that it will go beyond the reach of the Athletic Club. They too, for some reason, have been very surprised in some of their results. And based on the aforementioned point, I think that it will go against them. So I anticipate that even though Iñaki Williams will have a few minutes upon his return, I think that PSG will win comfortably because of the way PSG have been comfortable in their wins of late.
All right, so I did a mistake in the Ajax have won 4-2. They've come back to win that particular game. That game has ended 4-2 for Ajax in that.
Ajax were the whipping boys this season, losing every game, and they've won the game finally. Kudos to them. And I thought that at least they played against Karabakh. I guess. Yeah. Well, they traveled away to Karabakh, so an away win as far away as Azerbaijan. That's kudos to them for that. Correct me if I'm wrong. Chelsea played against Karabakh, right? And Chelsea failed to win away in Karabakh, and then Ajax has been able to do that. So kudos to them.
Ajax better than.
So Ajax have done they did what Napoleon could not do.
Ajax better than Chelsea. What you are saying?
If you are going to go by that analogy, the Arsenal is not a team.
Copenhagen beat Villarreal by 3-2. Villarreal, our own Thomas Partey, they see Tom. Let me even check whether he even featured.
But he didn't
start, but I just want to check whether he featured in that particular game because I think he's our most important player going into the World Cup.
When you talk about Partey, let's give shout outs to our senior man. Give shout outs to our senior man.
Samuel Ziga, shout outs to you wherever you are. We will talk later. I'll text you. So Thomas Partey, I can see he didn't start. I don't think he was even on the bench
in this match squad.
He wasn't even.
That's interesting.
So let's see.
But whatever happens, he should be from now till next year.
He should be playing.
Partey's leg should be in freezers. We should be making sure the leg is cool enough. He shouldn't be playing a lot in Villarreal. Resting him for next year to go. I think if I'm not wrong, that will be his final World Cup appearance. Yeah. And I think he needs to go in there, show what he can do, and live on a grand star.
All right, so let's still focus on the Atletico Club Bilbao and PSG game. If we can have the lineups on our screen, we would appreciate it. So let's take our viewers through that particular lineup. So this is for PSG.
So Safonov is the goalkeeper for tonight. Warren Emery with Marquinhos and Pacho. So Marquinhos and Pacho are the 2 central defenders. Nuno Mendes as well as the left fullback. And in the midfield they've got João Neves, Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz. And the front 3 of Barcola, Mayulu and Ivica Kvaratskhelia. There, so very interesting lineup. Safonov is the goalkeeper for tonight. Zaire Emery is the right full back for tonight. The centre backs William Pacho and Marquinhos. Left back Nuno Mendes, as well as João Neves, Vitinha and Fabian Ruiz as a 3-man midfield. Bradley Barcola, Mayulu and Ivica Kvaratskhelia as the front 3. Interesting lineup from the club. This was almost the lineup they took at the last game against Spurs. I didn't expect much from them, but they're able to get a win, so I expect more from them.
And this is for
against a less fancy side.
So Unai Simon is imposed. Arisu playing at right back. Vivian and Juri playing the centre back position. Adama is playing at the left back. Jargiza and Galarreta are in the midfield in a 4-2-3-1. Nico Williams is at the left wing. Ohen Sanchez and Berenguer are playing in that particular attacking front, with Gurizita leading the top, being the top marksman for Atletico Club de Bilbao. I don't know whether we have some interesting fun facts about them. We can have it on our screen, but before we have the fun facts, Sottie, how do you see this game? I'm sure it's just going to be a stroll in the park for PSG.
Yeah, this is a game anticipate that even if not necessarily a stroll in the park, it's a game anticipate that PSG will have a comfortable win. I think they too are beginning to have some struggles. They even though they beat Tottenham Hotspur by 5-3, Tottenham looked like if they had a few minutes, Tottenham could have really disturbed PSG. Since then, also remember they lost in the league to Monaco as well. So they are beginning to see a few worrying trends in terms of defensive solidity and the fact that they are not getting a lot of clean sheets. And I think that will be a cause of concern for head coach Luis Enrique. Apart from that, I think scoring, they will score at least 2 goals tonight.
All right, so let's have a look at the fun facts between these two teams when it comes to the UEFA Champions League. Now, the previous meeting between these two teams dates back to the Europa League in the 2011-2012 season, with PSG winning 4-2 at home. In their only other meeting, Athletic Club Bilbao won 2-0 at home. That's interesting. So both teams winning at least a game in that particular encounter. If we can have the next one on our screen, we'll be very much grateful. Now, Luis Enrique's PSG side have scored 19 goals in the group stage, the highest in the tournament, while PSG's only defeat came away in Munich. They responded emphatically with a 5-3 win over Tottenham Hotspur. With 3 consecutive wins in Spain recently, PSG are the clear favourites. So as you did mention, PSG are the clear favourites in this particular, and it's already 8, and the games have kick-started across all the venues in Europe. But let me take you through the games that are being played tonight. Club Brugge are playing against Arsenal. Dortmund are playing against Bodo Glimt. Juventus are playing against Pafos. I think it's a game that we need to look at because Pafos, they are doing something interesting in the UEFA Champions League. Real Madrid against Manchester City is currently ongoing. It's still 0-0, and so those are the games that are being played. Benfica are also playing against Napoli in there. So those are the fixtures for today. Leverkusen are also playing against Newcastle. So do you have something to say?
Well, there's a big news in the incoming breakade. Madrid have been awarded a penalty. Vinicius Jr. hacked down in the box, and so Madrid have started with their antics. Vinicius, as usual, with his antics.
Why is he antics?
He's been awarded.
Have you confirmed whether it's a penalty?
We know
or
he's a
not a penalty?
diabolic character. And once he gets into the box, he'll do any and everything to get a penalty.
I think you're not being fair to Madrid until you've seen the footage. And
I've seen the footage of the.
But what I'm seeing is breaking.
I saw the footage.
If you are the VAR.
No, I saw the footage of the.
We will confirm that later for you. So it's a penalty, and we'll bring you up to speed whether they've been able to score that particular penalty or not. So interestingly, these are the games that are being played tonight. But let's go for a break. But also remember that this show is also brought to you by Club Beer, and they are saying that whatever occasion that you are doing, remember that Club Beer is available any kind of challenge meeting since 1931. Club Beer is the right beverage or beer to go to, so they are also sponsoring this show. We go for a breather. When we come back, we bring you up to speed with what's happening across the venues and also bring you Betway Oddball. Stay tuned.
You go like them.
Man, I'm buying club, okay, for that man. Hey, oh, it's on me. Hey.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons below 18 years, not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Introducing Betway's Bet Influencer, a groundbreaking feature where you can make money by just sharing codes. He just needs to share his codes and make money. The more his codes are used, the more money he makes. Oh yes, so what are you waiting for? Anyone can be a bet influencer. Share your codes and make money. Bet Influencer, another world first from Betway.
This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Betway, get way more.
So welcome back from the break, and this is Sports World on ABC with me, Eugene Ofori, Sottie. I'm with James Ohenba McKeown. Well, I gave you some updates that Madrid had a penalty, but it looked like the referee had rather awarded a free kick instead of a penalty. So Vinicius was hacked down just before he entered into the box. The referee has rather awarded a free kick instead of a penalty. So it's currently goalless at the Santiago Bernabeu between Real Madrid and Manchester City. Over to you, McKeown.
So that's an interesting way to start that particular game, and that tells you that it will be very, very interesting, very keenly contested in there. So let me also go through whether there's been a goal with just 7 minutes being played across all the venues. It's still 0-0 everywhere. So before we go, let's see if we can have Betway odds board on our screens to see the games for this particular weekend. Sottie, kindly take us through.
So for Betway oddboard for this weekend, Bayer Leverkusen sit at home at the Bayer Arena and take on FC Cologne, and we've hidden that result for you. And this weekend in the French League, RC Lens sit at home and welcome OGC Nice. We are predicting an RC Lens win. Moraine take on Benfica. We are predicting a Benfica win. Benfica being the away team. Club Brugge, after facing off against Arsenal, will travel to face off against FCV Denda. We've hidden that. And in the Greek Super League, Olympiacos Piraeus versus Aris Thessaloniki, we also hid that from you. So once you get the booking code, then you'll be able to know whichever fixtures, options we've chosen. And so for our code, it's BW282BB6CB. BW282BB6CB. Once again, BW282BB6CB. One more time, BW282BB6CB. So that's our code for you. Bayer Leverkusen versus FC Cologne, RC Lens versus OGC Nice, Morense versus Benfica, FCV Denda versus Club Brugge, Aris Thessalonica versus Olympiacos Piraeus.
All right, so that's the Betway odds board for you. It's still 0-0 across all the venues so far, with just about 10 minutes being played so far. But the other games that have been played, let me come to Sottie for his prediction. Benfica versus Napoli.
Benfica at home, I predict a Benfica 2-1 win over Napoli.
Interesting.
Yeah. Once Benfica play home, I predict a 2-1 win over Napoli.
Napoli also on for
but Napoli, I don't think I don't think they will do well away from home.
Okay. Dortmund, Bodo Glimt.
I think Dortmund should win this comfortably 3-1.
Juventus, Pafos.
Juventus should win this 2-1.
I think for the other games we've already predicted. So yes. So I don't know whether you can pick just a call or probably two. Just for predictions and anything, but I don't know whether Sottie has also received some messages in there.
I'll try and see if I can get a few of the messages so far. Let me see. Well, there are a lot of messages, and so I would see if I could go through and get a few of the messages. Well, it's still loading, and so I'll try and get a few of them, but clearly
so this one says it's a 50-50 game, but Vinicius Jr. can make the difference tonight. Do you agree with the person?
Well, from what I saw in the first few minutes, I think that's where he's coming from, because Vinicius started the game very well. He tried to get a penalty early on in the game, and if that penalty was awarded to Real Madrid, it would have changed the complexion of the game, meaning that City would have entered the game very early, trailing, and that would mean the approach to the game would have changed. So I think I kind of understand that comment there.
So the phone lines are currently open. We just speak about just a call or two. Then all of us will quickly rush to go and have a glimpse of the games that are being played across Europe. But remember, on Friday there is the build-up where we preview all the weekend action, from English Premier League to La Liga to the Ghana Premier League to the Italian Serie A, to all the major storylines that are happening across Europe. We'll bring you out to speed with everything. So catch us on Friday with the build-up with me, Eugene Ofori, Sottie, and our wonderful guest. Then there will be a repeat on Saturday on ABC News Ghana. You can also go to our socials, that's ABC News Sports GH, across all social media handles. Just like, just subscribe, just follow us across all the social media handles, like our posts, put on the notification bell when we put an update there, so that you can have it first hand and also read it. So if we don't have any call, that's how we wrap up the Champions League edition on Sports World Ghana with me, James Ohenba McKeown. I did this with Eugene Ofori, Sottie, and shout out to all the technical team and production team, from Finger to Slide, Alaji Slide Tete, Mr. Breederman, then to Sami the Slagger, to Prince, to Romeo, and also to all the guys that helped us. Remember,
to Frank,
I almost forgot. But remember, tomorrow there will be ABC in the morning with Abna Mante. So just stay tuned and also enjoy the rest of our programs. We call it a night for now. Bye bye.